So here we are sitting in front of the rose engine, and the rose engine, basically we use it to create any circular pattern on a watch dial, and the patterns are generated from these roses here, and there's many different types depending on the size or the scale of the pattern that we want to generate. The head revolves, it's all hand operated by this wheel down here, and basically we load the work into this three-jaw chuck here at the front, and this is basically the machine. It's a lovely machine, it's Swiss made, got the disc, and we just simply clamp it into this three-jaw chuck. Make sure it's well bedded, and then just nip it up. And that's it. But now the next stage is to centre the workpiece. Basically we need to, my scribed lines have to be brought on centre to the pivot point here, and obviously all the roses. So to do that we can bring this slide into position, and this is really sort of, I suppose, a compound slide. And then we just lock it off underneath. There's a big bolt underneath here. Lock that off very tightly so we know it's not going to move. And then here we have a part which is called a rubber. Now this rubber will eventually sit on the dial, but we're now going to use that rubber to aid in the centering of the disc. So we just lift off these clips here, and we can just bring the compound slide over to the other side of the dial. And basically what I'm now doing is just bringing that rubber close to the dial so that we can start centering it. And basically this just gives me a guide as to the concentricity of the dial. So to do this we take the belt off the main sort of wheel, pulley, and basically just turn the dial around to check the concentricity. And in order to make it central, we bring it on centre with these two screws. And as we get it closer, we can move the compound slide across and basically reduce the tolerance. Well, that's good now. I'm happy that's on centre, and we can now begin to set up for the engine turning. So we engage the wheel again, the pulley, sorry. And next thing is to use our cutter, bring our cutter. And always make sure that the cutter is very sharp. If you have a rough cutter, then obviously the patterns on the dial will likewise end up rough. So it's got to be in perfect condition, and what we have to do is lock the cutter into place so that it butts up to the rubber, as I mentioned. Now the next thing to do is just bring the rubber out further than the tip of the cutter, and that just means that when we bring the slide up to the dial, the cutter does not touch it and risk being broken or chipped. So that's okay. Now the next thing is to engage and choose the particular rose that we want. and for this particular one we are going to use the 96 and 288 sections here and the 8th rows from the left.